everybody. Welcome to another midweek moment. Have you ever been sent to your room? Or maybe you've sent your kids to their room? Typically, being sent to your room is a form of punishment. And so you sit there and you sulk and you think about what you've done, and the goal is that eventually you come to realize where you were wrong and you're able to apologize, and that relationship is restored. Well, this last week I was sent to my room, not as a form of punishment, but because I was exposed to somebody who tested positive for COVID. And as a precautionary measure for the rest of my family, we decided that it was best for me to spend most of my time away from my family in my room. And so this is where I was for the better part of a week. And I sat here and, to be honest, there was some time where I sulked. But I also had some time to sit and think. And I wanted to share some of those thoughts with you today. Some things that I learned in the midst of this time of quarantine, of being sent to my room. The first is this, that being in quarantine caused me to feel two dominant emotions. I was angry and I was afraid. Being confined caused me to feel cranky, because I wasn't in control. I wasn't free to come and go as I wanted. I wasn't free to have that physical contact with my family, to be able to hug them and to kiss them. I was forced to keep my distance, and that made me cranky. And I also started to feel afraid. I've realized throughout my life that I have a little bit of claustrophobia, or this fear of small spaces. You might think, a 12 by 14 foot room, that's not really that small. And yet, over the course of that week, it began to feel as if everything was closing in around me. And so I found myself echoing some of the emotions of the psalm writers. And I felt angry with God, angry with others, and I felt afraid. Secondly, then, being in quarantine caused me to feel empathy for and to receive encouragement from others. The biblical word for this is compassion. 1 Peter 3 verse 8 says that we are to be sympathetic, that we are to love one another, that we are to show compassion. And the word compassion means that your heart goes out to somebody. And throughout this week, my heart has gone out to others who are affected by COVID right now, because let's be honest, that you look at the numbers as they continue to rise, and this is real. Like, this is not something that is affecting other parts of the country or other parts of the world. Like, this is affecting us right here in Carver County. And some people are affected far worse than I am. I mean, some of you or some of your loved ones are sick. Many have been exposed to others who have tested positive, and so they're in quarantine or you're in quarantine. And so as I spend this time in my room, it causes me to feel that greater level of sympathy and empathy for others and where they're at. And I don't even have it bad. Like, I was quarantined in my room for a week until I was able to take a test because I hadn't had any symptoms. And when that test came negative, I was able to go back to life as normal, at least with my family and my home. And there are others where they don't have that contact. There are others who have been confined to their room for months on end, those who are in care centers, those who are taking those precautionary measures so that they don't get the virus, which could potentially take their life. So I felt sympathy for others, but then I also received support from others. I received encouragement from others. I realized that that while I was alone in my room, I was never alone. Because of technology, I was able to communicate with others. I was able to talk to others on the phone. I was able to text them. And through countless conversations, I was able to receive encouragement. I was told by others, hey, we're praying for you. How are you doing? What can we do for you? And I saw the church rally together and support me and my family, because this is what God has created us for. God has created us for relationships. We're not meant to go through life alone. The third thing then that I learned is that quarantine gave me an awareness of hell and an appreciation for heaven. You know, as the Bible talks about hell, hell is being sent to your room, not for a set amount of time, but forever. And so all of those emotions, that sitting there and that sulking and being left alone in your thoughts, like that never ends in hell. And the Bible says that there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. You are utterly alone forever, apart from God, apart from relationships with each other. And nobody wants that. And I got just a little taste of what it's like to be in a hell here this last week. And I don't ever want to experience that again. And God certainly doesn't want people to experience that. Which is why he sent his son Jesus to be confined to a body, to suffer and die on a cross, to be placed in a tomb, which became his room that he was quarantined to, until 3 days later he busted out. And the whole point of all of that was to bring us back into a relationship with him. And this is what heaven is. Heaven is every relationship being restored. Our relationship with God, our relationship with each other, and our relationship with a beautiful world. And so as I get out of this time of quarantine, as I go back to my life, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to celebrating all of those relationships. I'm looking forward to being able to see you again. In the meantime, I know some of you find yourself in a similar place to me. You're quarantined, you're confined. And I want you to know that I love you and I'm thinking of you, and you are not alone. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're learning through this time. So thanks for joining me in my room today. I'm going to leave, and I'll see you again soon.